All right, guys, so let's take a look at this. I just made a post with an image of the chart, but I figured I would try one of these videos out. Got my Invisalign in, so you might hear me slurring some words here. But I just wanted to point out a few things. With the post I was making, you can see some of the old language I have here, and it ended up playing out. Um, you you can't be a maximalist on some of this stuff, all right? You just have to be realistic and say, yeah, this could happen, that could happen, and you just start attaching probabilities, all right? You want to see what is the likelihood of X happening? Well, it's getting pretty high, right? As we set in this head and it started selling off, once we broke a line that would have been, let's go ahead and steal this line. Once we broke this, it was getting clear, right? You see, I mean, you can see what happened, right? We set in a quick neckline. And this is a very hard neckline to figure out. I mean, it's very short term. If we change this to a weekly chart, it's probably not even there, right? So that was a tough one. I did say it was a neckline. I guess it turned out to be one. It did bounce quickly. We never quite got the shoulder I was expecting. I got a short shoulder here, but we broke this line, and sure enough, we're likely heading down into this 30 to 29, 28,000 zone. And hey, that's good. Look at the support here. Look at that. That's exactly what you want. But I wouldn't be waiting to get to this area because it may not get there, right? I mean, Bitcoin has a big community and people will rally around something like this. They really believe this is going to go to the moon, right? And if they sell themselves on, they're going to buy into this, push it up. So I wouldn't be waiting for this zone. I think it's likely it's going down into here, but percentage wise, guys, this isn't a big fall, right? Like why try to save 15% if you could put 5 grand in here, 5 grand in here, 5 grand in here? I mean, the percentage, if you do the math compared to a guy that just bought here, it's not even that big of a gain. When this gets back up to here, the gain percentage is not that much difference, right? But what you have to realize is the guy who just attempts to buy in here may never get his buy-in, right? Maybe your first 5,000 does well here. It falls down to here. You put another 5,000 and then it starts to bounce up and it's on its way. It breaks this. You start dropping 50 grand in or something because okay, we're good now. This guy missed, right? He completely missed it. Not to say like how I would structure this. I might put in, say, um, 5,000 here, right? Say I only had 15 grand. This is what I would be doing with that 15 grand. Now I'm rolling some into Cardano and some other projects right now, and I have very large orders sitting there right now at much lower prices. In case if this breaks here, we're going down. We are going down hard. We're going down at least a minimum to this zone. Now there's not a lot of support here. We're more likely to head into this zone. So that is a big sell-off. That would actually be amazing for buyers, right? I know it would hurt some other people, but just have a long-term view. Like who cares if you bought in this zone? You'll probably be just fine in the long term. So don't worry about it. But I mean, if it gets down here, I'd be borrowing money to put in there, right? But think about this. This is a good play. Watch. Let me spread this back out. If I was just playing with 15 grand, I'd be putting 5,000 in here. I would set up an order for 5,000 in this zone, somewhere in here, right? Probably at the very top, probably right above that zone, so I can get a buy before somebody else. And then I'd take my other 5,000 and I'd wait. And if it keeps going down to this area, I might buy in here. Or if it pops and starts to go back up here, I might be buying in this zone, right? It gives you an option that if you're sleeping in the middle of the night, remember, crypto doesn't sleep. If China starts selling in the middle of the night, you might grab that bag right there and it bounces and comes right back up here. And then you can rebuy again. Maybe you're bottoming out right there. So that's how I would be setting that up if I was somebody else. But we do have good support. I am expecting Bitcoin to come into this zone. I'm not waiting, to buy, but I'm also not dumping everything in here. I'm playing in some other areas right now, but just remember, I'm gonna try and keep this video somewhat short, but remember, market cap means nothing in crypto. This isn't being talked about. You guys need to understand market cap means nothing in crypto. You have to look at the math. Okay, we always talk about math with Bitcoin, right? Like it solved all these problems. Well, use the math. The math is you get market cap by the last selling price multiplied by the supply. That's it. That's what your market cap is. I mean, for example, this whole thing, this could be caused by 10 people, right? If 80, 90% of people are holding, this could be caused just low volume, right? There's low buying volume coming in, but there's enough selling volume just crushes the price, right? It's not that everybody and their mom is selling in crypto. And this is why it's even worse in some of these other coins out there. That's why you really have to be careful with those. So if you're in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, like these have much more liquidity inside of them to play with. So yes, we still get these sell-offs, but they're not likely as extreme, right? There is money to get out. The whales are the ones that are really trapped, especially in the smaller coins. They're trapped. They can't sell. If they tried to sell, it's just all paper wealth. That's something you got to remember in this crypto world. So there's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is there's low volume, right? So it doesn't take much to make these numbers change. I mean, Bitcoin can go down $5,000, right? It doesn't take much to make these numbers change. But the good news is it doesn't take much for these numbers to change, right? All you need, literally, if you had one buyer that came in and they just bought up the supply, whatever the supply is being sold right now, and the next guy selling, say the buyer does a market order, the next guy wipes out all the entire book, right? And then there's one guy saying, nah, I'll sell mine at 60,000. One Bitcoin is sold at 60,000, resets the entire market cap. I mean, that's a little crazy, but that's how it works. So the good thing is, what if $2 trillion, let's say real money, out of the economy comes into something like Bitcoin? This could go absolutely bonkers. This could go way, way to the moon. So what you have to realize is when you see that $1 trillion market cap with Bitcoin, right? It doesn't mean anything. What you really want to see is what is the true market cap? How many dollars have left the world's economy into Bitcoin to drive this up? That's what you want to know. I think I talked to Lynn Alden. She brought up a number. I think it was like 400 billion. There's on Glassnode, you could actually look it up. The price everybody has paid along the way for Bitcoin, right? So that's a very good metric. But that, say, $400 billion has created an over $1 trillion market cap. So there's not really $1 trillion there. So for newbies out there, just understand, doesn't mean there's $1 trillion in value that you could pull out, right? You have to understand a lot of that is paper gains. It is like the 2008 real estate crisis. Those could be completely paper gains, especially in something like Dogecoin or, below that. You don't know. So really, the whales, they are the ones in trouble. That's why if you're a whale, you want to be in Bitcoin. You want to be in Ethereum because there's enough liquidity to try and get some of that value out. But the little guys are in really good places because if you just have 10 grand, right, and you're playing in these markets, that 10,000 bucks, you can get out. You can get out easy. You could trade it back and forth and all this, and you're not likely to cause any of these candles. So you're actually better off not being that whale. So anyway, I just wanted to point some of those things out here. We could see some very low numbers if we break this zone. And just a real quick measurement. Let's start at the top, right? I mean, we know Bitcoin has 80% sell-offs. I'm not down low enough here, but 75% puts us right around. I bet if we scroll over here, yeah, look what zone we ended up in, right? We could see that number. We could totally see that number. And I'd be dollar cost averaging in, right? Or maybe I'm looking at Cardano and Ethereum or Solana or something because maybe they're down 95% and you're buying these things for pennies. Maybe you spread it out on a couple things. It just depends on what you think the world is going to look like in the future, right? But looking at Bitcoin, I just want to point out, just know that we're likely going into this zone. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd be dollar cost averaging in. I'd be setting up some buys. Maybe you have an extra 5 grand. You want some cash on the sidelines. Maybe you set in an order down in this zone and leave that 5 grand there, and then dollar cost average until you see if this breaks. If it breaks and heads to the floor, great. You might pick up a good deal. Maybe one of these bars kick in, right? Maybe you're on Kraken, one of those exchanges, right? Where it just happens on one exchange. There's a big sell off and you happen to be that buyer. I have a huge order in right now in Cardano. I mean, it's way low. Some people will be like, that ain't gonna happen. It's not going down to 50 cents and blah blah blah. I don't know that, right? I have an order sitting there just in case. It's my dry powder anyway, and if I pick up a good deal, let me open it up here. Let's take a look. I know this is about Bitcoin, but this is just good to know. I mean, look at this candle, right? What if you had orders just sitting in this zone, right? I did. I mean, it worked out amazing, right? You have some orders in these zones. I always find some good tops. I set in an order, somewhere above that because it may not go there, right? I'll find the next good zone, maybe even a bottom zone here. I'll go right above that, put in an order. And that's usually my dry powder that's sitting there. And when you catch these, it's just an amazing buy. Why not? Right? If you're looking for big sell-offs, and this was quick. I mean, this was just boom and then popped right back up, but you could be that buyer, right? This is large volume getting sold by a big player for whatever reason. He's going to soak up an entire order book. I want to be the guy sitting there with an order in. But same type of thing here with Cardano. There's good support in this zone. You're seeing this on a lot of cryptos, right? It doesn't matter which one we're looking at. Unfortunately, things still follow. They still follow Bitcoin, so it is what it is. But you got a long way down on this bad boy too. But look where this fell. Just like with Bitcoin, right? Look at those zones. That's why you pick those. Go set up some orders, right? Start DCing into Bitcoin, but then set up a couple orders with your extra cash down low. Try to pick up a good deal. Don't be the guy that's saying, no, it's never going to sell off, bro. It's going to keep going. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid, right? Start buying in, and then set up some. You want dry powder? Set up some orders with, if you're on Coinbase, US dollars or maybe US dollar coin. Just set them up and wait. See what happens. You might pick up some killer deals, right? Come on. Like, I mean, you got to look at this like a dude, okay? Where when do dudes buy their clothes? They buy them on the clearance rack. We don't like to spend money on clothes. Why do you think your clothes in Macy's are in the corner of the store by all the children's clothes and the bedding and the pots and pans, right? The women get the other half of the entire upstairs and then the entire downstairs. It's because we don't buy unless something is on clearance. We want to stack the coupons at Macy's, right? It's no different in this market. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for the clearance sale, right? My amazing clearance sale. If I'm putting 50 grand out that I want always as dry powder or 100 grand, I might set a couple buys. One down here. I might set one right above here, set one, maybe a bigger one here, and just let it sit, right? If I'm not trying to get, you know, if I'm not dumping my USDC in Celsius or something, trying to, get 7, 8, 9%, which, that's a tough one too. So it depends on how long you want to leave this. But in this type of market, when you're seeing this type of crap happening, why not pull it out of Celsius, drop it in some of these zones, and just hang out? Start DCAing in to try to get some good deals right through here. This is a decent sell, percentage wise. That's pretty good, right? You're talking almost 50% or so from here to here. Pretty good. So I'm setting up orders. I might just happen to be in Cardano this time. So keep your eyes peeled. Don't worry about it. I'd be DCAing in and just be realistic. We could see these zones, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those are huge buying opportunities. Anyway, hope this video help some of the new guys out that are getting into this, wondering what in the world's going on. I just tell you to look more into market cap and understand more about it's not about big market caps or little market caps. It's that market cap changes very quickly based on the selling price. It doesn't take, a ton of people selling in order to change the entire price for everybody. Okay, so don't worry about that. Look at the long-term view, and if you want to trade these types of things and try to pick up more, that's fine, but I would be, always leaving some in to try to ride that up. You buy in these points to accumulate, and it rises back up. So keep that in mind. Pay attention to logarithmic charts. That's really important. But happy trading, guys.